Torrential rains returned with brutal force overnight in southern China, unleashing a new wave of destruction across Guangdong Province. As dawn broke, residents of Mazu, Xiaowan, and Heiwan awoke to scenes of chaos and devastation. What had been streets only hours before had become unrecognizable rivers, tearing through neighborhoods with relentless power. The deluge was swift. Rivers breached their banks with alarming speed, and within minutes, entire communities were underwater. In low-lying districts, water surged through homes, pouring through doorways, climbing stairwells, and flooding underground garages. Families had no time to prepare. Some awoke to find their beds soaked, others frantically moved belongings to higher ground before fleeing through waist-deep currents. The sound of sirens echoed through the early morning air as first responders deployed rescue boats, emergency rafts, and helicopters. In many cases, rooftops became the last dry refuge. From above, aerial footage showed entire blocks submerged, only the tops of homes and treetops visible beneath a brown, swirling surface. The power grid was overwhelmed. Substations failed one after another, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. With communication lines snapped and cellular signals fading, families were cut off from loved ones, their only light coming from flashlights or flickering candles. In some cases, volunteers and neighbors carried elderly residents on their backs through flooded alleyways. Children were passed hand to hand through broken windows and into rafts, covered in plastic sheets to shield them from the driving rain. While urban areas struggled with flash flooding, the mountainous regions faced a different threat: landslides. Torrents of water loosened soil and rock, triggering mudslides that swallowed roads and buried vehicles. In Gaozhou, a hillside collapsed just meters from a school, demolishing structures and forcing immediate evacuations. Fortunately, early warnings saved lives, but the destruction left behind is staggering. Roads have disappeared beneath layers of mud, and train services across the region remain suspended amid fears of track washouts. In rural farming zones, the damage is heartbreaking. Fields of rice and vegetables vanished under the muddy waters. Farmers watched helplessly as months of effort were erased in minutes. Pens for livestock were washed away, and fish farms were devastated, nets shredded and ponds overflowing. With crops gone and livestock missing, food security is becoming a growing concern. Sanitation is now a critical issue. Drainage systems, already under strain from continuous rainfall, failed catastrophically. In some areas, sewage backed up into flooded homes, mixing with the water and raising alarms over potential disease outbreaks. Authorities have activated the highest level of flood response. Thousands of emergency personnel are now patrolling levees, reinforcing embankments, and clearing storm drains to prevent further catastrophe. Throughout the night, firefighters pumped water from flooded tunnels, and police set up barricades around unstable zones. Temporary shelters have been set up inside schools and government buildings, where displaced families now sleep on mats beneath emergency lighting. Volunteers are working around the clock, distributing hot meals, bottled water, and blankets to those affected. Yet despite these efforts, many towns and villages remain unreachable. Mountain communities have reported running out of food and medicine, with landslides cutting off all road access and communication networks down. Drone footage captured dramatic scenes, towns entirely underwater, rooftops barely visible, and floodwaters stretching out like lakes where farmland once stood. In some areas, water levels have already risen over 2 meters, and forecasts warn that more rain is expected in the days ahead. Emergency authorities are warning of a high risk of additional flooding and potential secondary disasters like lahars. Dangerous mudslides caused when volcanic debris or saturated earth mixes with rainfall. Public infrastructure is overwhelmed. Subway stations have been closed, bus routes suspended, and dozens of flights canceled across Guangdong's airports. In major cities like Guangzhou and Shenzhen, many businesses are shuttered, and the government has urged residents to work remotely and avoid non-essential travel. For countless families, the reality now is displacement. Living in shelters or relocated to higher ground, waiting for news about the safety of their homes. Southern China has experienced extreme flooding in recent years, but this latest event underscores the intensifying pattern of weather-driven disasters. Climate experts have pointed to a combination of monsoonal shifts, deforestation, and urban expansion as contributing factors. The immediate concern, however, remains focused on rescue and relief, getting supplies to the unreachable, sheltering the displaced, and preventing further tragedy as storms continue to loom on the horizon. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.